Okay. Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Cash Flow Experience. We are going to talk about don't mistake our kindness for weakness. And I have Jen here with me. So Jen, how's it going? We've experienced this a lot in our business, haven't we not?
So much. And I think one of the things we always talk about is holding boundaries without guilt.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. And the thing is people put their guilt onto us. They put the traumas and they project what it is that they want from us opposed to like what it is we can actually give. And then when we're not able to give that, they're all of a sudden telling us that we are a bad person or we're not a good leader or anything like that. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is when anyone is trying to make you feel guilty about a decision you've made for yourself, think about this, right? If you're holding a boundary, it's because you've decided that that's important to you, right? For your development, your growth, your sustainability as a coach, as a thought leader, as a mentor, right? So you have to recognize it for first what it is, a projection, right? We talk about this all the time, you and I.
All the time.
The projection field.
Yes.
And once you realize that it's projection, not facts, that's when you start making real headway with how you can actually hold your boundaries in a healthy way that allows you to block the projection, but also recognize when someone else is trying to guilt shame you, which is ultimately what that is.
Yeah. And this goes back to like we have had multiple experiences with business partners that we've worked with, even personal relationships, right? Of people we have cared about and poured into and really bent over backwards for. And then when we finally say no to those people, that's when shit hits the fan. Isn't it? Like, it's kind of wild. And we're speaking from experience really here. And I know this is something that a lot of people can relate to because it is crazy. It is crazy that people expect the most out of you when you've already given the most. We've done the most for them, but they expect even more out of us, and then they continue to project that off of us. So where this is coming from and that projection field is coming from, we have been really into human design lately, right? So we're both generator 5-1s, which is absolutely insane, and I think we get along pretty damn well.
Yeah, we do.
We are basically the same person in a different font. I say that all the time. But the thing is the crazy part is if we've experienced pretty much the same similar situations just in different people. And we have talked about this is how certain spirits are attached to them.
Oh, yes. Yes. And that is, let's talk about that for a second if you want to. Yeah. It's like the spirit of manipulation, the spirit of fear. Right? All these different spirits that tend to attach to people that haven't yet dealt with their trauma, recognized their trauma, or even admitted to themselves that they're holding these things. But it all comes out in business. Every time you start a business, you're going to be confronted with the mirror. The mirror will confront you and you're going to see your traumas, your past, your family, all the things that you haven't processed, you haven't dealt with. That's all going to start to come out. But I think, like we're saying before, you have to stand firm in your truth, even if you're misunderstood.
Amen to that.
And that's the thing that I think a lot of leaders struggle with is they really end up people pleasing, which doesn't address the underlying issue, which if you don't have standards and boundaries as a coach, as an entrepreneur, as a female business owner, you're going to be swayed by whatever's going on. And that's going to drive the direction your business can go and can't go because you're not actually even in control of your own business because you're not in control of your own life. But that's why recognizing off the bat the projection field is so important. So you can call it for what it is and not what it feels like. Because what it feels like and what it is are two totally different things.
Yeah. And also, so like, even though like we hold our boundaries, right? And it is so important for an entrepreneur, a CEO, especially women, because we give and we love and we bend over backwards for people without even thinking twice about what it does to us as women, right? So sometimes like we put so much foot forward that the other person receives so much more.
Preach, queen.
So
Preach.
we receive nothing in return after we've give everything. Our hearts, even our time, our money, our ability, our skills. And it cuts deep when someone hits, right?
It does.
And what I mean by hits is by that projection.
Yeah.
And that's all it is projection. It's just because, oh, you didn't give me money or didn't offer me what I wanted or the response that I wanted from you. You're all of a sudden mad at me now as your coach.
Right. Which is always a setup, right? It's always premeditated when you think about it. Because if someone already has these spirits on them, right, or these traumas or these triggers, and they never dealt with them, what's going to happen is when you confront that ego, it's all going to come out. They're going to flip it on you, and you're going to become the worst person ever. Because what ends up happening a lot of times too in mentorship, and we talk about this a lot, is the pedestal. We get put on this incredibly ridiculous pedestal. We're just women and moms. We are women, mothers, single moms for a long time. Not anymore, but we were building multi-7-figure businesses while raising our kids, not asking for handouts, not asking for, things to be given to us, but rather building, right? And then we get confronted with ego.
Yeah.
Right? And so the thing that's so important is that we understand what we're dealing with, but we also know how to respond to it in a way where our business is still moving in that trajectory in which we know it needs to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I want to leave you guys with, a challenge even. And this is my favorite part. And you will notice that I'm constantly going to be challenging you guys in every episode. So my challenge and homework for people and anyone that does experience projections the way that we have, and we won't get into, any details of the types of projections because we could go on and on and on, and that would be a whole movie in itself. We should probably create a movie, to be completely honest, or a book, a novel, I feel like it's so bizarre you guys probably wouldn't even think twice about it. But I want to point this out to anyone that does experience projections or that you bend over backwards for people and you feel like you get nothing in return and all these people do is take from you, and at the end of the day you end up becoming the villain. What I want to challenge you is getting clear in your boundaries, your standards, and your authenticity with yourself. So it's really realizing the identity that you actually want to hold, the person that you want to betray, and at the end of the day, making sure that you have aligned, even if you've said no to people, making sure that your boundaries and your standards align with exactly how you're acting.
Gold bars. Yeah, I love that. And then, the last thing I would, just to tack onto what you said is the power of having discernment. You wrote that down. We talked about that. But knowing that you're going to run into these situations in business and not being surprised when it happens, because it's going to happen. Right? So just if you know that you're going to run into these situations, they're so much easier to overcome when you expect it rather than running into it and being like, what is this? Oh my gosh, what do I do? This person said this. This person projected. Oh my gosh, I'm the worst person ever. Yeah. They knocked me off this pedestal. Well, no one can put you on a pedestal if you've already decided where your footing is.
Exactly.
No one can kick you off something that you chosen not to step onto in the first place, right? And that's just really embodying your power, having discernment in your own leadership, that self-led leadership where you don't need someone else to come alongside you and tell you who you are. You've decided. You're the self-led leader.
Amen.
Amen.
Platinum. So, and the thing is using our power of discernment in that time, right?
Yeah.
So the power of discernment whenever we're dealing with these types of people that come at us. And I mean, I'm not even saying that these people could be bad. There are bad people that we've encountered, but there's also good people that project on it to us as well. And I experience this with everyday life. And I had to come to you for guidance because I was really destroying myself based off these projections. Like, I was like, what is wrong with me? Am I too harsh? Am I too blunt? Like, this is how I'm living. This is what my standard is. This is my boundary. But I had to come to you and literally like lay it all down. Like, well, most importantly, I prayed about it first. And I was like, please, God, put someone in my path that's going to align me with like my true identity and who I'm actually trying to be, instead of all these people that twist my words and turn them and make it all about them when it's really not even personal. It's not about them. Like, it's just business.
Absolutely. It's always just business.
It's always just business. But why are we taking things so seriously when it's not that fucking serious?
Yeah, that's a question that we ask ourselves on the daily. Is it not? Yeah. And the thing is, when you're growing and scaling any business, you have to have fun.
Yeah.
You can't put things into a perspective where it's always life or death. You're super high, you're super low, right? You have to live in that space of understanding where, hey, we're going to go through some highs, we're going to go through some lows, but in the end, it's all going to come out in the wash. We're going to be up no matter what, right? Learning how to ride those waves in business is what separates the people that never make it and the people that go on to make 7 figures, right? Learning to keep things in perspective and more in a season of neutrality than rather these super highs and these super lows. It just never works out.
And we're about to get right into that in episode 2, because we're going to talk about the masculine push to feminine flow.
So excited.
Which is going to be incredible. So I hope you guys have a lovely day.